we continue through stories to delve into the mysteries that are hidden in plain sight until we no longer need to see by the light of existence, or in other words, by the light of mind. And there's that story about that venerable and venerated Dervish who had a number of followers who one day he gathered around him to tell them that it was time for them to be tested. And this test would take the form of a pilgrimage. And it was said at the end, when they'd reached their destination, that it was required of them that they must stand up and state, "I must die in place of the Dervish." Now all of the followers got together to discuss this. What does he mean by this? Is he sacrificing us so that he can save his own life? So all but one of them decided that they would accompany him. So our Dervish, with his lone followers, set out until they arrived at a far distant kingdom. Now it so happened that the monarch of that kingdom hated and feared dervishes, because it was well known the stories that were told about them were that they were charlatans, they were magicians, they were fakirs, they were conjurers and shapeshifters and all of those superstitious descriptions that abound in most societies. So it was an edict of this cruel tyrant that any dervish who entered his kingdom must immediately be apprehended. Now it is well known that dervishes are recognized by their patchwork cloaks. So our dervish, wearing his colored cloak, was easily recognized as one of those when he entered that kingdom. He was immediately taken before the king, who stated that he was to be made an example of, that no one such as his ilk would be welcome in this kingdom. So a gathering of all his people would come to witness his execution. So a platform was built on which this execution was to take place. And our dervish, the king, and his minions gathered at that place, along with all the populace, to witness this execution. Now, of course, the dervish's follower, being just an ordinary man, was amongst those who gathered to witness this execution. So when it was time for it to take place, as he had been instructed to do, the followers stood up and said, "I must die in place of the dervish." So when this was heard by not only all the people, but the king and his minions, they wondered what was going on, so they brought him up to the platform. "What do you mean by this? What are you saying?" And again he said, I must die in place of the dervish. So the king went over to his minions and asked, what is the meaning of this? And his advisors said, well, sire, you know what is said of these dervishes, that they are soothsayers and fortune-tellers and the like. And so the king asked the dervish, what is the meaning of this? And the dervish said, did you not know that it is foretold that anyone who dies at this place, at this time, will be immediately taken to the celestial realms and welcomed by a pantheon of gods and placed on a golden throne. So the tyrannical monarch immediately turned to the executioner and said, kill me immediately. And this is what the executioner did, as did many of the tyrant's minions, demanding to immediately be killed to enable them to be taken to the celestial realms. And so it was that the dervish not only tested his followers, but rid this kingdom of a tyrant, cruel monarch. The mysteries hidden in plain sight. Like the mystics, as was told in the story the other day, we can ask ourselves, what is a dervish? What is the deep meaning, the mystery contained in his story? Recognizing, perhaps, that all the characters, symbols and archetypes in every story represent aspects of our own self. What is a dervish? What does it represent? Revealing a mystery, the mystery in this story.